Hey, I'm Justin.
This is Chaz.
Join us as we look back together, but learn to stay present.
Come with us as we rise up with hope on the horizon.
This is the podcast of extraordinary millennial gentlemen.
All right, welcome.
Welcome, everybody. We're back.
We are back, finally. Got some new headgear here. A little recap. We last episode, we talked a bit about, we were kind of nostalgic looking back on fatherhood. We're going to continue that conversation a bit today, but kind of go into the current times. Before we jump right into that, though, I'm going to kick it off. Ask Justin here.
Yes.
Got to know what you've been consuming. What's new? What's feeding into your lives these days?
Yes. Two things that start with the letter C. It's kind of a weird pattern this week. Sort of. A show that's been around for a while. A lot of you guys out there probably enjoy it thoroughly because of its millennialness. It oozes millennial nativity.
Juices.
They flow.
You can milk it.
You can. Wow. So many images. The show's called Community. It was an NBC show. Like I said, I'm not going to define what it is. It's a television show. It's a portrayal by actors of things that are situationally funny and humorous. No, it's a great show. My wife and I will watch it from time to time. I don't know how this happened. I think I may have seen just repeats of a lot of the same episodes over the years. And then suddenly I'm on like a season that I don't really remember any of the episodes. So it starts to feel a little new and a little bit fresh and fun. But it's enjoyable. It's, risque at times, but I love the commentary about kind of that era of, college that never ends.
Yep.
And the pop culture references and the layers of that are pretty fun. So, so that's one title that starts with a C.
Yep.
The other is probably a 180 to that. And that is a series called The Chosen. So I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's depictions of the New Testament. And we're not talking like Bible camp productions. Pretty fairly involved, like cultural context.
Yep. I've seen a few previews of it come up.
Yeah, it's fairly interesting. Again, not trying to throw out there to everybody everything that I enjoy, you enjoy. But it's worth a look, definitely. Like I said, a little bit polar, a little bit different. And then I must say, I've been listening to a lot of an old workout mix that I had called, I've called it Lifting in College. I'm pretty sure, Chaz, I have shared this playlist with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the Amazon playlist shared.
So I've got that playlist going quite a bit. I was telling Chaz before we started the show, I've been working a lot in the last week, doing some after hours weekend work. And that has been my juice, my coffee. Get a little bit of Avenged Sevenfold going, little bit of Kill Switch Engage, and get psyched for work. It's been helpful, but it's kind of been on my playlist.
When you need that boost.
Yes. Yeah. That's a lot of talking, good sir. I must know what you're into this week.
Yeah, so this past week for me has really just been consuming a nice vacation. So I haven't really consumed that all year because I'm home, I'm working. The staycation is kind of gone because you're always in a staycation of sorts. It's like a work from home staycation. Yeah, right. So that hey, I don't have to head downtown. I don't have to do this or that is gone. So, so consuming some of the woods, it was nice. I'd say there, what I consumed more of, they had on property, like a 8 or 9 hole Frisbee golf course, which was cool in a really wooded area. So it was like, throw the disc, hit a tree, throw the disc, hit a tree. but that was cool to do with the kiddos. They really enjoyed it. Saw nature, again, being out in the trees, saw like I think it's called a gaggle of turkeys. I might be wrong. Maybe it's not a gaggle.
I believe the word you're looking for is a old wooden ship.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
The old wooden ship of turkeys.
The old wooden ship of turkeys. There was like 6. And then we decided to do some family photos. And then behind us, where 6 deer just go hopping through the forest.
You guys were having like some Disney princess like singing montage in the woods. Just moments where the wildlife was like frolicking.
Right. And everything was churning colors. Cool. So you had the reds and the oranges. And then like I mentioned, pre-recording here with Justin, got to go for a fun run on the beach. Lake Michigan beach, not, an ocean, but it kind of looks like one. So it was way nice.
It's a Midwestern ocean.
Ocean.
If you don't know, there's just
consume the ocean if you can. It's all salty. Mine's
it's
way less
it's salty. So large, and there are waves, right? I know in Chicago, like there's some waves.
Yeah, it was as far as I could see, they were capping all the way out there, and it was really windy day. So it was, the nice breeze. So for those that like running, near on beaches or whatever out on the ocean sides, I got that same kind of experience, but without that salty, misty spray. It was just lakey spray. Nice. But super relaxing to step away. So if you haven't booked your vacation time, whether you can get out or not, just unplug. It was nice to, I didn't have to think of work, kind of a complete opposite of what you were telling me with your, overwork and needing your playlist to pump you up. Yep. Yeah. So we're on polar ends here coming into this episode, which would be great. Get some new views there. So
yes, you are refreshed and invigorated, and I have been worn down by the man to the knuckle.
Yes.
So we will have our tainted perspectives of millennial fatherhood.
Right.
No, that's good. I dig it. So this is kind of part 2 of a discussion, right?
Yep.
As you previewed leading into this, and this is a free form discussion, everybody. This is not like, hey, now this is when you're supposed to say this.
Line.
Anybody? I would tell you so there's not really talking points here. This is just a discussion. Yeah. And we want you guys to join in as we talked about on the last kind of part 1. Weigh in, add comments. We want to hear back from, you guys as listeners, because that will make our show better, our content better, and round us out. We try and be rounded out, well-rounded folk here. So fatherhood now, what is that about? So I don't want to go into a whole bunch of story about how great my kids are. Not really, because they're focused on fatherhood. And I think that fatherhood and just parenting right now is going through an identity crisis.
Trying to find itself a bit.
It is trying to find itself. It's like can't say this word. Existential. It's trying to define its existence, right?
Yeah. It's kind of struggling.
Who am I? Yeah.
It's like a Zoolander. Well. It's like he got booted off the football team. It's like, wait, I want to play. Kind of a thing. Yes. A little bit.
See, you're sharp. You're going to sports reference. I was thinking Derek Zoolander looking in the puddle.
Oh,
Who am I? I don't know.
I don't know, but it needs to be 3 times as big as this.
Oh, very good, very good. So what role does fatherhood have in our society now? Well, I don't know if that's drastically different than what it's been in the past, but I think because it's gone through kind of an existential crisis, it's really important to be present. In the present as a father. I take a lot of experiences from the way I was raised, and I try and bring it every day. I bring my A game, because family relationships, kids, relationship with your spouse, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. So let me ask you this. what were you thinking going into fatherhood that maybe totally changed or prior to having a family, and then
for me,
go ahead. Has been a shock. It's just been a surprise.
I don't know if anybody else felt like this for me, but going into it, I kept feeling like, hey, when are these, thoughts of fatherhood or these ideas, like, when are they going to come to me? It's here, it's happened. I'm now a dad. And it never came. So I felt like I was always like this blank slate, kind of what we were describing about maybe fatherhood now trying to invent itself. I maybe more go through this experience than just me. But that's what I felt like. I was this blank page and had no clue what to do. No, there's no manual, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I started, just completely, I don't know how to do this. I wasn't great with it until I would say maybe past 2 years old.
Yeah.
I felt I was kind of in neutral, right? I'm like, I can't do much. Sure, I can give it a bottle. I'm in survival mode. I'm in bring home the bacon so we don't have to worry about those issues, sleep deprivation, all that stuff that comes occasionally here and there. And just to get through it and to support, my spouse through it while she's recovering, and if there's postpartum depression issues, all that kind of stuff, with all the hormone changes after birth, and even more sleep deprived. Yeah, all that stuff. It's just like, wow, you go through that, and 2 years later, you're like, okay, it's 2 years. I can start interacting with the kid. Like that for me was probably the surprise point you're maybe talking about here. And what really changed my thought, because it was just like, okay, now I can, again, kind of the neutral idea. Now I can shift into first gear with this kid and start, interacting. I still spent time, still held them and their babies and stuff, did all that stuff. But, and I think it's growing. So this blank slate of page is kind of filling out. But for me, it's more like I can even look at my relationships with, you and other friends. It's like, well, what do I do with them that helps nourish that relationship? And that's kind of fed into my fatherhood is like, well, I don't get together and really just chat on the phone or face to face, unless there's special topics I'm interested in. It's more of a, intellectual conversation. Other than that, it's just doing things together. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just
being
present, doing card games, board games, video games, outdoor stuff, indoor stuff, like whatever it is. It's just spending
catered
that time
to the kid, right?
Yeah, I think last week, this is kind of coming back. It's been a week or two, but we had talked about, I think in the mentor moment, about time, right? Time is currency. And it's, are you spending your time to get that, or are you spending your money time, like to invest, right? In these kids. So I think that comes full circle to me now as I'm saying this out loud, that as I'm putting that into other relationships, or whether that's with my kids or spouse or whoever, it's the same. And that is defining me as a father. And really, if you want to get to the next level deeper, for me, is where am I, if I can show it, like, where am I at the hierarchy? What is first? Where do I spend most of that money? Where's second? Where's third? And I think for me, I bump fatherhood up as high as I can.
Nice.
So
it's a great investment. That's what it is, right? For anybody that's kind of analytically minded. I tend to be so by education, and also just by
it's just it's who we are.
By curse. No. I have a little $sign curse above this eyebrow I got when I was cursed by the evil banker Dollar Mort. Okay, not a sponsor. Please, J.K. Rowling, don't sue us. So anyway, I agree, man. I think there's nothing to replace time, and that investment is so valuable. I see that in my kids. That is the constant conflict, I would say, is how do I spend my time? And then when you spend the time, is it quality? It's not always quality.
Yeah. Are you present when you're spending it?
Right.
Or is it a distraction? Here, put a few
That's
quarters in this Game Boy here for you to sit next to me and don't talk to me.
That's right.
A game, or something.
Daddy's on the phone. Daddy's watching a game. You know, in our parents' lives, it was probably like Dad's reading the paper. Remember, there used to be these things called papers. Not like an e-paper, like Kindle, but like paper, like magazines. Anyway, that's, I'm really scatterbrained today. I blame the work.
Yeah.
So
it's all good.
Quality time, being able to spend the surprise to me was the sacrifice that takes. Because I kind of analytically said, there's 24 hours in the day. I mean, you work or you make a living, and the rest of the day, minus sleep and, time or investment in yourself, is everybody. And it's like the equation has a big missing variable, and that's like you.
Yeah.
And your complexity, and days where you're like, I'm beat. I'd rather curl up in a ball and wake up and not be today. Not often, but sometimes.
Let me ask this question. See if this rings true. It's just coming up. So if we were to break down that 24 hours, again, very analytical here. If this, hopefully you can make us spin this off into, if you're less analytical, but okay, 24 hours, you need some sleep, like 8 hours, right? We subtract that. And then you're working for, 8, 9 hours, 10 some days, subtract that. So now we're at, say 18 to 24, right? So 6 hours left.
All right.
6 hours left. You have to get up, get ready, get dressed, all that kind of stuff, and get ready for bed. So maybe subtract another hour. Now we're down to 5.5. Where that gets eaten up pretty quickly. If you have appointments, if you have to go places, you're right. Any other thing. So that time gets whittled down, and you got your dinner meal time with the family. That's another hour dropped. So now we're really talking about, what do you do in, say, these 4 hours that you have? And one may be in the morning when other people are still asleep. So is that, and the pressure on dads here is like, okay, are you still taking care of yourself? Are you still exercising? Are you still,
don't I know,
right? Donut exercise. And then what else? Like, maybe what are consuming? Are you still trying, reading some books and stuff? Are you thinking of other people and serving them? Or we could just rattle off a whole bunch of things. You really only have like 3 to 4 hours to choose what to do in those moments. And then you get home from work and it's, I need to be, shifting my hats to my dad hat now, spending those couple of hours with the kids, but you're getting some texts, you're getting some emails.
Like a whole mask. I have like a dad mask. No, I do want to throw this out there as an exercise, because I think you're hitting on some really important points. My brother, who's a pretty wise person, relayed to me, he's got a buddy who's in law enforcement, super high stressful job. I'm not saying that it's the most stressful. I'm just saying that personality and the type of work, stressful job. He had this kind of like decompression that he would do to try and get that quality time at a high level. And I've done this a few times because I have a bunch of rocks in front of my house, but he would take a rock and he would say, "Oh, rock, my rock." No, he would take it and he basically squeezed it really hard and really focused on what was really frustrating or really, difficult that day, and just kind of tell himself, I am giving this to the rock and I am dropping the rock. And he'd just drop the rock, and then he'd go inside and just be like, okay, I already dropped it all. I literally left it outside.
Leave your baggage.
Yeah. And I'm not telling everybody like that's what it takes, but if that's something that helps, give it a shot. I've done it a few times.
I thought why? Because it was like this big, massive boulder, and he flips it over every day.
Like he kind of does like an Atlas thing. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah. Aren't those called Atlas rocks or whatever those are called? Yeah. I would get into that. I just don't have enough powder. I don't know what the powder is. They always like put powder
on
their big
their
Yeah.
belly.
Yes. Well, I powder my belly every day. To keep it soft and supple. No. Okay. Sorry for everyone. Mental image. Words like supple. It's like, you reserve those for something not like that. But I went there. Oh, all right. 2 guesses.
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about. Here are my describing words. Moist and supple. No. Forget that. Sorry. Trying to keep it G to PG, everybody.
Yes.
Trying to keep it millennial.
I think that's a great idea.
Drop the rock.
I might have to give that a try. I was also thinking like squeeze it and then throw it, but you'd have to have like a wooded area.
Don't throw it.
Don't throw rocks at glass
in
houses.
a safe direction. Cast your projectile.
Your wife's like, why are all these dings in our car?
Yes.
It's always in the back bumper area. I like that. One thing I want to, again, I guess, circle back and ask is, I think I didn't answer
the question. I'm sorry, please.
No, it's all good. So we've got those 3-4 hours, right? I think that's a good way to transition in between now. I think that's great.
Okay, got it.
What do you sacrifice the most of those to get extra time? What do dads tend to, I think, or what do you, and then we'll see if, maybe other, audience, feel free to answer this as well. But if you are out of time, what do you end up usually sacrificing?
Out of time.
You're out of time. You're like, I need to squeeze this in so many hours in the day. I mean, I think you said it earlier. I don't know if I'm teeing this up right for you, but I'm kind of tired.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to hit this. Full confession. What do I sacrifice? Sometimes the quality time with the kids, the quality of the time, the quality of the time. I'll compress it down. I will turn into the taskmaster. You will get a bath. You will eat your dinner. I will these things to happen. There's no gentle persuasion. There's no like, why don't you want to eat your dinner? Yep.
No, I like that because I was thinking something else, but I think you're right. I think that it's not wrong. I was just thinking we often self-sacrifice. We often take away time to sleep.
That's a very close second. That's a very close second.
And I think it affects the first one you said. As a result of that, like almost like I'm going to spend more time, even maybe I'm going to stay up and spend more time with my kids, or I'm going to stay up and do this for them. And the next day you're tired and then your quality of a dad goes down. Right. And so it's almost like it's a catch-22. It's like, well, I could do this extra stuff, whether for yourself or for them. And that may, in effect, you may be thinking this will help me be a better dad. But then it may have a short-term suffering for that. And maybe long-term it does pay off, but maybe it's the reverse and it's long-term that won't pay off if you're doing that consistently and eating.
That's what it is, man. I had this weird realization this week. My brother-in-law and his wife had a baby a couple months ago, straight up in COVID, brave people. No, it's like they didn't really know that was going to happen. Pandemic thing.
Staying there a little bit longer, but
we kind of got a pandemic. You ain't going to want to come out right now. But that's how these things happen. They get a little big and they go. So, long story short, everybody's healthy. Everybody's doing really well. And I had this flashback of when my children were that small in that age. And I had that weird, like, who hasn't heard this from either any adult, but especially like a parent who maybe have some, or a guardian or somebody who's got like a tender heart of some form. A little bit of regret. That's typically where this comes from.
Yeah.
But this whole saying of like, it goes by fast. Don't let it slip through your fingers because it goes by so fast. And then they kind of like look out to somewhere where like, wow, that must be the regret angel sitting on their shoulder. Like, it's okay. No, that's not to say that they always have bad intentions when they give that advice to you. But I would tell you for the first time in many years, it really kind of hit me. That's like, this is it. There is a window And all these like turn 18, kick out of the house kind of jokes aside, that's kind of our parents' generation,
right.
kind of boomer generation. Like, wait till I kick you out of the house. I think the millennial approach is a lot more like, well, these are my kids, and I want them to have all the things that I enjoyed in life and some, and there's not that much time. So how do I do this? So I kind of felt that in looking at my own kids, comparing it with where my brother-in-law and his wife were at. And what I realized is I don't want to follow the program. I don't want to be like, okay, I like the analytical that speaks to me, but quality of time, that's the standard that I want, right?
Yep.
Presence and quality time. And I know for everybody listening, it's like, wow, that sure is vague. What an idealized, like, oh, reach for that star. And it's like, dang straight. That's what it is. I can be a little bit better. What's the gold standard? The gold standard is quality. What does quality mean? Let's get it. Now we're sounding like a program, but it's not distracted.
Yeah.
Dare I say phones, screens, right? All encompassing. Screens down. I'm sorry. If you have, been dating your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, that screen time is not really relationship building, right? It's not, dare I use the word, intimacy. Everybody gets your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about intimacy in relationships, right? Closeness, understanding, empathy, sympathy. Those things come to a culmination with that quality time, which I think leads to intimate relationships, closeness, and screens don't do that. So I would throw screens out the window. I mean, they're a necessary part of our lives. Technology will always be integrated in who we are as a generation. But man, with kids, there's a place and a time. And there's definitely times where you can be doing something together. Yeah. But my tendency is if I have a screen, it's a distraction. It's just what it becomes. It's like, oh, enjoying this together. I wonder what the game is. I wonder what the score is. I wonder who said this. I wonder what the news is. So it never ends. So put it down, put it away. And if you have many children, or it actually doesn't matter. If you have any children, trying to understand what makes them unique, because when they're really little, I think it's important for them to understand who they are and can become, and not try and mold them. We've had this on previous shows, talking about not trying to make your child, like I said, do some kind of program or something. Right. Exactly who you want them to be. There needs to be that amount of independence where they, find out for themselves. I'm doing a lot of ranting right now. So in summary, I try not to, follow some program because that's a little bit too rigid. I just try and follow the standard that I want to be present. I want to be available. I want it to be quality. Yeah. And that way it stays a little bit free form. Quality could be out in nature, like you described, having a great, last week too, consuming that. And your family no doubt felt that as well. That could be reading books. Oh my gosh. Reading books to my kids. Good times. Yeah. I have read the same books a lot, right? You and I both know this. And if you guys haven't tried this, hey, books are like, they're worth just getting, just 50 cents, get them from the library. Just bring in the variety for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good timeout for the mentor moment with everything you were saying. Ooh. So I'm going to flip over here and just read this quote. Zig Ziglar, for those who ever heard of him. If you haven't, check him out. He's definitely like I'd say even pre our parents, era. They may have grown up listening to him, but his son, Tom, sent this out in an email today. And he's saying this is something his dad used to quote over and over. He heard it and he loved it. And it says, you are where you are because that's exactly where you want to be. Right? Your hopes, your desires, wherever your heart is, it led you to the point where you are today. And that may have been, going through some changes. in your life, making different corrections along the path you've been on, or maybe it's you haven't yet, but you're recognizing that need for some of those. And I'd say in fatherhood, I mean, that's spot on. Like, you're going to be the father you are because it's where you brought yourself. And
that's right.
And the good part of that is you're the one bringing yourself there. You're the one treading this path, pushing through this whole fatherhood. Like I was explaining, this blank sheet of paper. Like, I'm the one filling in, with words, pictures, and whatever, however you would, visually think of filling that up for who you become as a father. You're the one creating it. Like, even though you're the one that made potentially that mess or part of a mess or whatever, situation, that we're all a mess to some degree. You're the one in control. You're the one that has that power to recognize and make those changes. So if any of these things we've said, you're like, there's no way I could do that. Hey, maybe re-engineer your day a bit, re-engineer your priorities, re-engineer, the time you go to the library. Like, I haven't been to the library ever as a father. Honestly, I actually think that's true. I've been to a library with my wife, with him, but have I ever taken my kid to the library myself? Did I ever pick out a book at the library? I don't think so. I may have carried the big heavy bag to the car, right? Because that was, that's too heavy. Let me take that for you. But yeah, so it's like, I could maybe do a little better in the book. And it's funny because my little guy, he'll be like, no, that's a mommy's book. Mommy has to read that one too. But there's also daddy's books. Like, he'll be like, oh, it's daddy's turn. Let me go pick a daddy's book. Nice. And they're definitely different in his mind in different categories. So, his mentor minute. I just say, recognize that you are where you are. It is what it is. Look forward, make a plan, make a path.
That's right on. It fits really well. You are where you are today. And that's where you've wanted to be. Now, does that mean you're done? No, I think that's kind of what you're saying is like, but there's an acknowledgement and an accountability of where you are, but don't stop believing. Dream some. And fatherhood is the same way, guys. Don't feel like you have to be the mold of your parents. Don't feel like you have to be, oh man, I'm going to sound really bad for this, but don't really be like the Instagram dad. I don't know. I guess the idealized, these are snapshots of my life, right? And look how staged and everything is wonderful. #blessed. It's tough. It's tougher than that. The quality time I think we're talking about investing is a lot of times met with opposition. And so because, children, families, they're made up of individuals and they have their own choices. And like I said, it's real easy to jump into tyrant mode and be like, you will do this because I am your father. Right. And if you'll stop and see that that's where you at, you'll more than likely determine that's not where you want to be. So back to Zig's quote of where you are is pretty much where you can find yourself, but there's no one really confining you to do or be anything. You are in the driver's seat. So I always like the idea as well, just kind of the simple things. Some of the best investments out there are not, and he's another financial kind of analogy.
Sure.
Analytical $, over the eyebrow people.
It's there.
What do I call them? Bankamort. I forgot my own made up reference.
We'll have to listen to ourselves and find out.
Yes. I'll have to listen back and put some kind of weird circular reference in the show notes. Couldn't remember the reference that I just remembered at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
So it's the simple things. I had some financial advisors and professors who were like, hey, you know what investments you shouldn't invest in? Invest in the things that you can't understand at all. What they represent, what their value is, where it fits in the market, and how it may grow. It's like, that's too complex. Now, people can become more complex, more refined, more sophisticated. That's cool. But it's the simple things, everybody. I mean, I really like what you said. It gets me excited to get out in nature. Nature's simple. Get out there, appreciate, breathe it in, right? Slow it down a little bit. Quality time. The quality in that is largely just undistracted and simple and focused on the individual. And yeah, man, I wish there was a manual, but there ain't no manual. Let it happen.
It makes me one other thought here, and then I want to pose one other topic, which I think is in both of our wheelhouses. So for current fathers and kind of what we've talked about. But I think an underlying theme of what we've talked about here so far for me, that's kind of ringing true a little bit is you could kind of say, okay, so what about all this quality time? What does it actually do? Mm-hmm. Right? How does that actually help me be a better
ROI?
Yeah. It's like, what? Are they going to spend more time and take care of me when I'm older and this is a trade-off? Like, no.
Hey, I've changed a lot of diapers. I expect a lot of diaper changes later.
Change my diapers. They're dirty. But I think it goes to a phrase I've heard is that more is caught than taught, right? See, this quality time, you don't need to worry about what you're teaching. You don't need to be this preachy, teacherish dad. They don't need to call you professor, know-it-all, or whatever.
Right.
But they're going to learn from you. They're going to see your best qualities come out in that quality time with them. They're going to feel loved. And that's all that I think really matters. That's going to develop and let them become their own individual, because they're going to feel supported by their dad. And something also circle back to the very beginning of our conversation.
Bring it back.
We're not going to focus on our kids and say, right, how great they are, right? That comment. But the caveat there is, over time, you can take some snapshots and look and say, bring a little scripture in here, take it as it is, just maybe take it as a word of wisdom if you don't believe it's, origin or whatever, but by your fruits you shall know them, right? Like a pear tree is going to produce a pear. Right. If it's a good pear tree, it's going to be a really good pear. So if you're a good father, you're going to have really good kids. And that just comes as a byproduct of that quality time we were just talking about. Again, they're just, let them learn from you by learning from you, not being taught.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's a great point. I want to throw in some dad guilt, as we wrap up.
Yeah.
But after your wisdom, but it's like, hey, by the way, they're not going to get this investment from anybody else.
Yeah. You're their dad for a reason. Like, do they have another dad going to pour into them like you would?
Then you're getting into like a cloning, like parallel universe. Yeah. Maybe your evil dad, your kid's evil dad will show up. Which one am I? Good dad or evil dad? Anyway, so don't teach your kids that. That's terrible. But do recognize that the investment is overarching, like you said. Yeah. You get in what you put out, and you're doing this not just for, it's not a selfish thing. It's completely the opposite. Yeah. You want your child to have a better future than you, and you don't have to have the greatest knowledge and skill set to make this happen. Yeah. It takes quality time, and they're not going to get it anywhere else. There's a lot of places that purport to provide that kind of nurturing and support, but I'm just telling you, it's not out there. It's not available in the same way. Don't overthink it. Yeah. You can do it. Have hope and make it happen, man. There's no such thing as perfect dads, but there's definitely such thing as some messed up kids. So let's try a little harder. Let's be a little bit better. Let's try not to follow some rigid program, and let's just invest in that quality time. Yeah. And your reward, your eternal reward, will be great. I think that's from DuckTales. There it is. Oh,
Aladdin.
no, that's Aladdin.
Aladdin.
My bad. I was thinking DuckTales. Okay, I might have to consume that this week. Go look up the DuckTales movie. I forgot the guy's name, but yeah, I've got his voice in my head.
Yeah.
Dijon. Yeah.
You have to let me know. Okay, so quick. I'm going to call this like our 2-minute warning here, kind of rapid fire, and we'll wrap things up here. But I think with some of the stuff we've mentioned, another aspect of this timeline we're talking about and the dad guilt, another area besides sleep, I think we give up. And this is always kind of a dad joke as well. And we kind of joke on ourselves is our dad bonds. Right? If we give up our health.
Suppleness.
Yeah, exactly. Our supple.
It's
baby
true.
powder everywhere. We give that up. I was thinking like workout chalk initially, like didn't have enough chalk to do my pull-up squats. It's not even a thing. Pull-up squats.
All right, everybody, please comment with your best meme of a pull-up squat.
Yes.
Let's keep it PG, though.
See if you can show that. So, yeah, I mean, we sacrifice we end up with these dad bods. And then you get to a point and you're like, oh, man, if I'm going to be able to do things with these kids when they're older, I got to kick it back in gear. It's like there's some period of time, at least I know my period of time. And again, leave comments below if you're saying different, whatever. But it was like, work's super important. Okay, family's super important. Oh, I need to have a good quality of life in my body. I only got one of these. Like, where's my spare body? Okay, there isn't one. So now it's kind of shifting. But then dad guilt sets in a little bit. And you're like, every hour I spend working out is an hour away from my kids. But I need to do it to be healthy. And I'm away.
That's right.
So let's just throw out rapid fire, right? 2-minute, just quick thoughts, what you do, anything like that, or what you hope to do, areas like that, or things that have worked, things that don't work, just open-ended.
All right, here we go. What works really well? I like early mornings. Your kids are asleep. Yep. Sometimes your spouse is asleep. Early mornings, get your butt out of bed. The world's your oyster. Get after it. Walks, runs, lifting, whatever. It's good. It's good to go to work physically tired. I have found that I don't stress as much because my body's like, I'm not putting up with that. I'm already tired. Now, when I mean tired, I don't mean sleepy tired. I mean, you've got the endorphins going, right? So I like early morning. Early morning's good. Evening doesn't work for me, man. It's too tough. Yep. Yeah, when those hours, the way they land with my work schedule, I've got that window of time with my kids, and typically after that is the window of time I have with my spouse when we both kind of have undistracted time. And so it's almost like husband guilt. You're like, I'm gonna go to the gym for about an hour and a half now that our kids are in bed.
But I'm out of here.
But I don't want to see you right now. Other things that I like are, and you're a huge proponent of this, is just things you can do in your home, isometrics around your neighborhood, around your community. Yep. I feel like if a lot of people out there will look around what's in their immediate community, they'll find a lot of resources for exercise, calisthenics. So I'm not a big gym person. I think the gym is overrated. When you're in my position, you're not really there for social at all. I'm kind of a Johnny Cash gym goer. It's like, I want to wear all black, pretend like I'm at a funeral. It's a somber occasion. I just want to get in there, work out, and get out. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Why are you all dressed in black, Johnny? Look like you're going to a funeral. Maybe I am. That's me at the gym. It's like, maybe I am. Maybe I am at a funeral.
Comes here.
Okay. Rapid fire. Keep it going.
Sweet. All right. So here's my quick thoughts. Sustainability has become a new word for me that ties closely to my fitness. If I can't sustain it, maybe it's too much. I used to be into all these beach body things. Yes. I would blitz for 3 months and then be burned out for 6. And then blitz for 3 months.
It's a long recovery.
It is.
Seriously.
Mentally, more than the physical. And I just can't sustain that. Now, if you can and you have something there, great. The other thing that works really well for me is incorporation. And that is doing it with the family. And you mentioned like, hey, just go on a quicker paced walk around the block. And if little ones can't keep up, bring ways like maybe they're on their bicycle and you have to keep up with them. Like that is a workout. Yeah, and then, if littler ones, you're pushing the stroller, there's extra resistance, right? And it's, think of things like that. The other thing I've done for incorporation is putting, my simplified, mostly body weight stuff in the basement and getting kind of an extra set for the kiddo. And he just, I'm like, hey, it's my time to go in the basement. Did you want to walk on the treadmill? Do you want to play on these rings? Do you want to roll around on this mat I bought, off Let Go for $20? And
kids will do it, man.
My kids will do it. Yeah, he just comes and plays, and his play, maybe him hanging upside down for, 30 seconds on the bars, but man, he's getting some workout. He doesn't even know. He's just having fun. Yeah. And
there's
I'm
some
there.
Quality time there. Ooh,
I'm doing, exactly. So the incorporation, where possible, is great. And then, I used to be big into like, same thing with you, do it in the mornings, but I've, recently, and this is maybe my stage, is like, I need that extra sleep now for this period of time. And that may shift in a month or two, and I may be back to the morning gig. I do it right when I get off work, because I'm working from home, and it's just, it also gives the wife a break. She's like, oh yeah, you take the kids and they follow you into the basement for an hour, and they're kind of, she gets her break. So it kind of all works out. That would be my rapid fire piece. And let us know maybe what's working for you. Ideas for us, ideas for other listeners. Hit them in the comments. We'd love to hear it.
Thank you guys. It's been fun. This is part 2. We got a final part coming up. We are going to look to the future.
Yeah. Stay tuned next week, and we'll see what comes of it. Good stuff.
Goodness, greatness, dare I say.
All right. Thanks again. If you like this video, give us the thumbs up. I think the bell lets you know when we post up. So hit
the ding dong
The
click.
ding dong.
Give us the ding dong clicker.
And again, leave us some comments. Thanks.
Everybody, thank you for spending the time with us today. We hope you liked today's podcast. Make sure you like and you hit subscribe as well. Share it with your friends. Share the hope. Rise up with us. We'll see you soon.